From here onward, Osho begins to take us deeper into the inner journey. The focus shifts from basic awareness to subtler forms of meditation. Here, the seeker is invited to rise above the valley of the mind and rest on the hilltop of witnessing. Chapters 11 to 25 open many secret doors. You will discover how to go beyond thoughts, how to change the flow of your energy, how to see life as a dream and free yourself from its grip, how chaos can turn into cosmos through awareness, how acceptance of both light and darkness can give you total freedom, how love and daily experiences can be transformed into paths of superconsciousness, and how sound, silence, and surrender bring you closer to the divine. In this section, Osho also reveals the most paradoxical truth. Sometimes meditation is not about doing anything at all. It is simply sitting, watching, allowing the mystery to unfold. These chapters are like stepping stones. Each one takes you higher, from witnessing the storms of the mind to entering the silence beyond sound, from the struggles of the individual to the unity of the universal, from division and conflict to harmony and wholeness. In short, these chapters teach us the art of shifting from the surface to the center, from the restless waves to the deep ocean within. This is the path of Tantra in its purest form. But before you get lost in this video, kindly tap the like button. It's free for you, but it helps this video reach someone out there who might really need it today. Let's spread something good together. And if possible, also consider subscribing to the channel. It truly supports me in bringing more content like this to you. Thank you so much for being here. Chapter 11. Watching from the Hills. Imagine yourself standing on a quiet hilltop. Below, the valley stretches endlessly, filled with storms, noise, and movement. People rushing, thoughts rushing, emotions rising and falling. From here, everything looks different. The chaos is still there, but you are not caught in it. You are watching it. This is the essence of meditation in everyday life. Osho calls this witnessing consciousness. The idea is simple, yet revolutionary. You don't have to fight your mind. You don't have to control your feelings. You don't have to suppress your desires. You just watch, like standing on a hill and observing the river flow below. You notice the ripples, the currents, the rocks in the stream, but you are untouched. When you watch from the hills, something extraordinary happens. Distance creates clarity. Suddenly, problems lose their grip on you. Fears shrink in size. Anger becomes lighter. Even joy is experienced without clinging. You are no longer a prisoner of your own mind. Osho gives a metaphor. Your mind is a valley full of storms. The storms are memories, worries, fantasies, and judgments. If you are inside the valley, the storms toss you around endlessly. You suffer, you react, you fight, you escape. But climb the hill of awareness. Sit silently. Observe. The storms remain. Yet you are untouched, calm, and spacious. This witnessing is not about detachment in the sense of coldness. It is not about avoiding life. It is about being fully present without being overwhelmed. The witness sees everything, yet remains free. This freedom is the first taste of meditative bliss. How do you practice this daily? Start small. During a busy day, pause for a few moments. Observe your breath. Notice your thoughts. Notice your emotions. Do not interfere. Do not judge. Just watch. Osho explains that watching from the hills transforms ordinary experience into meditation. Eating becomes conscious. Walking becomes sacred. Talking becomes mindful. Life itself becomes a meditation. Another crucial point: the hills are always within you. You don't need to climb a mountain physically. Your inner awareness is the hilltop. Every time you become the witness, you are climbing. Every time you step back and watch your mind, you are on the hilltop. This technique also helps in understanding the self. When you are the watcher, the ego becomes visible. Its games, its demands, its fears are no longer hidden. You see that you are not your mind. You are the space in which the mind happens. The ultimate power of this practice is subtle but profound. It leads to silence. It leads to peace. It leads to the realization that all storms, all chaos, all fears, all joys, they are passing clouds. And you, the watcher, remain untouched, vast and eternal. Osho says, "From the hills, life is no longer a struggle. It is a dance. The observer becomes the river becomes the observer. The separation disappears, and in this witnessing you touch the infinite." Meditative prompt. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. Imagine climbing a hill within yourself. Look at your mind from that hilltop. Watch without judgment. Let everything flow. Be the silent witness. This is the way to freedom. This is the first step to inner liberation. From this hill, you will see life with clarity, peace, and love. Every moment can become meditation. Every experience can become sacred. All you need to do is watch. Chapter 12. From Mind to Source. Most people live their entire life trapped in the mind. Thoughts rise and fall like waves. Some are small, some are violent storms. The mind is constantly busy. It worries about the future, regrets the past, judges the present. And yet very few ever stop to ask, who is watching the mind? Osho calls this the journey from mind to source. The source is the silent awareness that exists beyond thoughts. It is pure, unconditioned, vast. It is not caught in desires or fears. It does not react. It simply is. This is your original face, your true being. The mind is useful for calculation, planning, and reasoning. But it is limited. It can never touch infinity. The source, however, is limitless. It is eternal. It is the space in which all thoughts, all emotions, all experiences arise. To know the source is to know freedom. How do you reach it? By witnessing. By observing your thoughts without getting involved. When a thought arises, see it. Do not judge it. Do not follow it. Simply watch, like a bird flying across the sky. The sky does not cling to the bird. It only remains vast. As you practice this, the gap between thoughts grows. A silence emerges, a spaciousness. You realize that the mind is not you. It is a tool, a servant, a passing phenomenon. You are the awareness in which it functions. Osho gives an exercise. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. Focus on the pauses between thoughts. Notice the spaces. Those spaces are not empty. They are full of life. They are the source. Every pause is a doorway into infinity. From mind to source is also a shift in energy. When you stop identifying with every thought, tension disappears. Fear vanishes. Desire loses its compulsive grip. You start living in a state of pure presence. Life becomes effortless, flowing, luminous. Another important point. The mind loves to create stories. It labels, judges, anticipates, and regrets. The source does not. It simply watches and allows. And in this allowance, you discover something miraculous. You are not separate from life. You are life itself. This awareness also transforms your relationship with the world. Other people's actions, opinions, and judgments no longer disturb you. Chaos outside becomes calmness inside. Every situation becomes a mirror to observe your mind, and in observing, you transcend it. Osho emphasizes that this is not theory. It is experiential. You cannot read your way to the source. You must practice. Even 5 minutes a day of true witnessing opens doors. Step by step, thought by thought, the mind relaxes. The source reveals itself naturally. Meditative prompt. Sit silently. Watch your thoughts as they arise. Notice the gaps between them. Breathe. Do not interfere. Be the watcher. Feel the vastness behind the mind. That is your source. That is the silent, infinite presence within you. Once you touch this source, everything changes. You are no longer tossed by life. You are no longer your fears. You are no longer your desires. You are the infinite sky in which all thoughts arise and disappear. And in that sky, you find freedom. You find peace. you find the eternal now. Chapter 13. Changing the direction of energy. Energy flows through every human being. It is the force that drives thoughts, emotions, desires, and actions. Most people are unaware of this energy. It moves randomly, scattered, often wasted. It fuels fears, anxieties, and compulsions. It gets trapped in habits, attachments, and unconscious patterns. Osho calls this the alchemy of energy. When you become aware of your energy, you can transform it. Instead of letting it dissipate into distractions or frustrations, you can direct it inward, upward, toward higher consciousness. This is the essence of Tantra. Energy is not to be suppressed. It is to be observed and guided. The first step is awareness. Notice where your energy is going. Are you lost in anger, desire, worry? Are you constantly thinking about the past or future? Observe without judgment. Just watch. This alone begins the process of transformation. Next comes redirection. Sexual energy, creative energy, emotional energy, all powerful forces, can be moved consciously. Instead of acting unconsciously, you allow the energy to rise. It moves from the lower centers of the body to the heart and the head. It becomes ecstasy, clarity, and creativity. The same energy that once created tension now creates joy. Osho emphasizes that energy is neither good nor bad. It is neutral. It is how you use it that determines your life. Anger can destroy or purify. Desire can enslave or illuminate. Fear can limit or awaken. Consciousness is the tool that changes direction. There are practical methods to work with energy. Breath is the simplest. Notice the flow of air in and out. Feel it in the body. Allow energy to move naturally. Do not force it. Move attention, not muscles. This small act begins a profound transformation. Osho also talks about the fire of meditation. When attention is turned inward, energy rises automatically. The body vibrates. The mind becomes alert. The heart opens. And the energy, once chaotic, becomes a river flowing toward bliss and awareness. Another technique is watching sexual energy. Instead of reacting compulsively, observe it. Feel it. Let it rise without action. It becomes a door to higher states of consciousness. What was once bondage becomes liberation. This practice also teaches patience. Energy cannot be forced. It cannot be controlled with the mind alone. It responds to awareness, presence, and acceptance. The watcher of energy becomes the master of energy. Meditative prompt. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. Observe your body energy. Notice sensations, heat, tension, and flow. Follow the rising and falling of energy. Do not interfere. Simply be aware. Let energy move from lower impulses to higher awareness. Osho concludes, when energy is consciously directed, life transforms. Fear becomes courage. Anger becomes clarity. Desire becomes ecstasy. The body becomes a temple. The mind becomes a river. And the soul touches the infinite. Chapter 14. Life as a Dream. Have you ever noticed how memories of your past feel strange, almost unreal? Childhood moments, past joys, past sorrows, they seem like a movie now. This is the first clue that life itself may be more dream than reality. Osho teaches that most people live in a half-dream state. We are asleep while awake. Our minds are busy repeating stories, fears, and fantasies. We react automatically. We suffer unnecessarily. We rarely see the present moment clearly. Seeing life as a dream doesn't mean you deny it. It doesn't mean you escape responsibility. It means you create distance between yourself and the patterns of your mind. You stop taking your thoughts and emotions too seriously. You become the observer. And in observation, freedom begins. Imagine this. A river flows. You are standing on its bank, not in it. The river is your mind, carrying desires, memories, anger, love, and fear. If you are in the river, you are tossed endlessly. If you are on the bank, you watch it flow. You enjoy the beauty, the movement, the patterns, but you remain untouched. Osho emphasizes that this awareness is the doorway to liberation. When you see life as a dream, attachments loosen, pain becomes lighter, joy becomes richer. You no longer cling to outcomes. You no longer fight the inevitable. You begin to float in life rather than struggle against it. A practical technique: sit quietly, close your eyes, recall a memory from your past. Notice how it feels like a scene from a movie. Notice your emotions as separate from yourself. Watch them arise and fade. Do this for different memories and thoughts. You will feel a growing sense of space inside. This is the first step toward realizing life as a dream. The second step is to extend this awareness into daily life. Observe your reactions in traffic, at work, or in conversation. Notice how often the mind creates unnecessary drama. Smile silently at the absurdity. This does not mean apathy. It means freedom. It means you are no longer trapped in the mind's illusions. Osho also connects this to spiritual awakening. When you recognize that life is fleeting, temporary, and partly dreamlike, you stop resisting existence. You stop clinging to the I that suffers and desires endlessly. You step into the witness consciousness, a state of pure awareness. Ultimately, seeing life as a dream is not pessimism. It is empowerment. It is liberation from the chains of memory, expectation, and fear. The dream is not fake. It is an opportunity. Through it, you can awaken to your true self. Meditative prompt. During your day, pause. Observe one event as if it were a scene in a movie. Notice the characters, the drama, the reactions, but do not identify with them. Feel the space that arises between the mind and the observer. This space is freedom. This space is life itself. When you practice this, you will notice something miraculous. Your mind quiets, your heart relaxes, and the dream becomes a doorway to reality, to presence, to bliss. Chapter 15. Chaos to Cosmos. Life can feel like chaos. Thoughts scatter. Emotions rise and fall like storms. Circumstances change unpredictably. Sometimes it feels as if the world itself is spinning out of control. Osho teaches that this chaos is not to be feared. It is not something to escape. It is the raw material of transformation. Everything you experience, every problem, every joy, every sorrow, is part of the universe's hidden order. Imagine the stars in the night sky. From Earth, they may seem scattered, random, and chaotic. But viewed from a greater perspective, a pattern emerges. Constellations, galaxies, cosmic rhythm. Life operates in a similar way. From the vantage point of awareness, chaos reveals its inherent cosmos. The first step is observation. Stop resisting what is. Stop judging life as good or bad. Witness your mind, your body, and your world. Notice the patterns, the repetitions, the hidden rhythms. In this witnessing, a subtle order begins to appear. Osho explains that meditation is the key to seeing the cosmos within chaos. When you meditate, you step out of the small I that struggles. You become the observer. From that perspective, life's storms lose their power to disturb you. You see the interconnectedness of all things. Another important principle: transformation does not require control. Trying to force life into order only increases tension. Instead, align with the flow. Allow life to unfold while maintaining your awareness. You become like water flowing around rocks, flexible, alive, responsive, yet undisturbed. Osho gives a practical exercise. Close your eyes. Visualize the chaos inside you. Thoughts, fears, desires, memories. Now imagine a small point of light at the center of your being. With each breath, the light expands. It touches the chaos, transforms it, and eventually the chaos becomes part of the light. The storm settles. The universe within you becomes calm, orderly, and radiant. From chaos emerges creativity. From disorder emerges insight. From the apparent randomness of life, meaning appears. Osho emphasizes that the universe is always whole, even if your mind cannot see it. Your inner chaos is the mirror of the cosmic dance. Meditation allows you to tune into that dance and find harmony. In daily life, You can practice this by accepting situations fully. Traffic jams, conflicts, arguments, delays. Watch them without reacting. Notice your inner tension. Allow awareness to transform it. What seemed like a problem becomes an opportunity to be present. Ultimately, from chaos to cosmos is the journey of consciousness. It is the process of turning noise into music, storms into rhythm, fear into insight. It is the alchemy of awareness. And when you master it, you no longer live in fear. You live in harmony. You live in the flow of existence itself. Meditative prompt. Sit quietly. Observe your thoughts and emotions as if they are clouds. See their patterns. Feel the subtle rhythm behind the chaos. Breathe into the calm center of your being. Experience the cosmos arising within the chaos. Chapter 16. Acceptance and Wholeness. Life becomes a burden when we live in constant resistance. Most of us fight against what is. We want things to be different, people to behave according to our wishes, circumstances to bend to our desires. This fight drains us. It creates inner conflict and fragmentation. Osho explains that the secret of transformation is not resistance, but acceptance. To accept means to say yes to life as it is. When we stop fighting reality, we begin to live in harmony with existence. Suddenly, wholeness arises. Think of a river. If you resist it, you are tired, you drown. But if you flow with it, the river carries you. Life too is a river. Acceptance is floating. Resistance is drowning. This does not mean passivity. Acceptance is not resignation. It is clarity. When you accept a situation, you see it without distortion. Then, if action is needed, you act with wisdom, not with anger or frustration. Acceptance brings intelligence. Resistance blinds. Our ego is always resisting. It wants control. It wants perfection. It wants guarantees. The ego says, this should not be happening. But existence is vast, mysterious, beyond the ego's understanding. When you fight, you suffer. When you accept, you open yourself to wholeness. Imagine your emotions. We usually resist sadness, anger, fear. We suppress them or escape from them, but resistance strengthens them. The secret is to watch them, accept them. Allow sadness fully, without judgment. Allow fear, anger, loneliness. As you accept, you begin to see they are just passing energies. Nothing is permanent. By accepting, you dissolve the inner split between what you feel and what you think you should feel. Wholeness is nothing but integration. When you are no longer divided into acceptable and unacceptable, you are whole. When you accept all parts of yourself, even the shadow, healing begins. Light enters. Osho uses the metaphor of the sky. Clouds come and go, but the sky remains untouched. Your being is the sky. Thoughts, emotions, experiences are clouds. If you accept them, they pass. If you fight them, they stay longer. Acceptance reveals your sky-like wholeness. This insight changes relationships too. When you accept others as they are, love flowers. Most love is conditional because it is based on expectations. True love is acceptance. You do not try to change the other. You celebrate them. This creates harmony, intimacy, trust. Acceptance also transforms suffering. Pain is inevitable in life, but suffering is our resistance to pain. When you accept pain, it loses its sting. You can even witness it silently. Suddenly, what was suffering becomes growth. What was darkness becomes depth. The mind is dualistic. It always wants either or. It rejects half of life. It says yes to pleasure, no to pain. Yes to success, no to failure. But existence contains both. By choosing one and rejecting the other, you create conflict. By accepting both, you transcend duality. You become whole. Meditation is the ultimate acceptance. You sit silently, without trying to change anything. Thoughts come, you accept. Silence comes, you accept. Whatever happens, you remain a witness. Slowly, this witnessing creates a deep harmony. You feel complete. Wholeness is not something to be achieved. It is already your nature. Only resistance hides it. When you drop resistance, wholeness shines. You realize you were never broken. You were always complete. So, the key is simple yet profound. Stop fighting life. Accept it. Flow with it. In acceptance lies freedom. In wholeness lies bliss. Chapter 17. From individual to universal. Every human being begins life with the sense of being an individual. We feel separate, isolated, unique. This individuality is necessary in the beginning because it gives us identity and survival skills. But if we cling to it forever, it becomes a prison. Osho says the spiritual journey is a movement from the individual to the universal. It is like a river flowing into the ocean. The river has its name, its boundaries, its individuality. But when it merges into the ocean, it loses its separateness and becomes something vast, infinite, eternal. The individual mind says, I am different from others. I am special. I am separate. The universal consciousness says, I am one with all. I am the whole. This shift is the essence of spiritual growth. Think about a small candle. Alone, its light is limited. But if the flame merges with millions of other flames, there is a festival of light. The individual is the candle. The universal is the celebration. Osho reminds us that individuality is an illusion created by the ego. In reality, everything is interconnected. Your breath is not yours alone. You breathe the same air as trees, animals, and other humans. Your body is made of food, water, and sunlight that come from the cosmos. Even your thoughts are not isolated. They are influenced by culture, society, language. Nothing is separate. When you realize this, a deep compassion arises. You no longer live only for yourself. You begin to see yourself in others. Helping others is no longer a duty. It is natural, because there is no real boundary between you and them. The journey from individual to universal also means dropping the ego. Ego wants recognition, status, superiority. Ego fears being dissolved. That is why surrender feels dangerous. But only by surrendering can you expand. The drop must fall into the ocean to become the ocean. Meditation is the bridge. In meditation, you slowly move beyond personal thoughts, desires, and identities. You experience moments of silence where there is no me. In that silence, you taste the universal. It is vast, boundless, without center or edge. Wholeness and peace come from this realization. As long as you remain trapped in individuality, there will always be fear, competition, loneliness. Individuality separates. Universality unites. When you realize you are part of the cosmic dance, fear disappears. Death also loses its grip because you see that life is eternal. Bodies die, forms change, but existence continues. Relationships also change when you touch the universal. You no longer demand, cling, or possess. Love becomes a sharing, not a bargain. You do not need the other to complete you because you already feel complete in the universal. From this completeness, love flows abundantly. This transformation is not theoretical. It is experiential. You cannot think your way into the universal. You must meditate. You must experience silence. You must taste the inner space where boundaries dissolve. Then you know. Then the individual disappears, and the universal arises. Osho says this is the highest evolution of human consciousness. Man begins as an individual, but flowers as the universal. Just like a seed disappears into the soil to become a tree, individuality disappears into existence to become freedom. So, the secret is surrender. Let go of the false sense of separateness. Relax into the flow of existence. Move from the prison of I to the vastness of the whole. When you merge with the universal, you discover your true nature. You are not just a wave. You are the entire ocean. Chapter 18. The Fire of Awareness. Awareness, Osho says, is not just a practice, it is a fire. A living, burning force that has the power to consume unconsciousness, ignorance, and illusion. Just as fire destroys darkness instantly, Awareness destroys the sleep in which most human beings live. Most people move through life in a kind of waking dream. We act, but without clarity. We repeat habits, follow routines, react emotionally, and live mechanically. This state of unconsciousness is comfortable, but it keeps us small. Awareness is the flame that wakes us up. Think of walking with a burning torch in a dark forest. Without it, you stumble, you are afraid, you do not know where to go. With the torch, every step becomes clear. The forest is the same, the path is the same, but the light changes everything. Awareness is that torch. Osho explains that awareness means watching, moment to moment. Watching your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, not with judgment, not with condemnation, but with a pure, silent witnessing. When you watch, you begin to see patterns. You realize how often your anger rises, how quickly your desires control you, how much of your life is automatic. This seeing itself becomes transformation. The fire of awareness is self-sustaining. The more you practice it, the stronger it grows. At first, it feels difficult. The mind wanders. Distractions pull you away. But if you return again and again, the flame burns brighter. Slowly, unconscious actions melt away. You become more alert, more alive, more free. Awareness also burns desires and fears. Desires are born in unconsciousness. You want things because you think they will complete you. But when you are aware, you see their futility. Fear, too, loses its grip. Fear depends on darkness. When light shines, fear vanishes. This fire also purifies relationships. In unconsciousness, relationships are filled with conflict, expectations, and projections. With awareness, you no longer blame the other. You see clearly what is happening within you. This clarity brings compassion. You become less reactive, more understanding. Osho warns that awareness is not relaxation in the lazy sense. It is relaxation with alertness, like a cat sitting quietly, but ready to jump. Awareness is silent, but sharp. It is gentle, but powerful. Many traditions teach repression. They say, do not be angry, do not be sexual, do not desire. Osho says repression is dangerous. It hides the fire inside, but does not transform it. Only awareness can transform. When you watch your anger, without judgment, it slowly dissolves. The energy of anger becomes pure vitality. When you watch your desires, they lose their power to control you. The same energy becomes creativity. Awareness is also the foundation of meditation. Techniques may differ, watching the breath, chanting, visualizations, but the essence is the same. Be aware. If you lose awareness, the technique is empty. If you remain aware, even simple actions like walking, eating, or breathing become meditation. The ultimate gift of awareness is freedom. Freedom from conditioning, freedom from the past, freedom from fear of the future. In awareness, you live in the present, and the present is life. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, only now. This is why Osho calls awareness a fire. Fire does not compromise, it burns completely. Awareness, too, is radical. It burns away illusions, leaving only truth. That truth is not borrowed, not from scriptures or teachers. It is your own direct experience. So, Osho invites us, light the fire within. Carry it with you. Let it shine in every corner of your being. Let it burn away unconsciousness. Then you are not just alive, you are fully awake. You are a flame of awareness, and through you, existence itself celebrates. Chapter 19. From Sound to Silence. Existence is filled with sound. The chirping of birds, the rustle of trees, the flow of rivers, the hum of the wind. Even when everything outside is quiet, there is sound inside you. Your heartbeat, your breath, your thoughts. Osho says sound is the outer layer of life, while silence is the inner core. The journey of meditation is moving from sound to silence. Sound is movement. Silence is stillness. Sound belongs to the surface. Silence belongs to the center. As long as you remain attached to sound, you remain restless. But if you learn to move deeper, beyond sound, you discover a silence that is not empty, but overflowing with peace, clarity, and presence. Osho points out that sound is not the enemy, it is the doorway. Most seekers try to fight sound. They run away to caves or forests where there is no noise. But silence is not about escaping sound. Silence is about using sound as a bridge. If you listen deeply, every sound dissolves into silence. The bell rings. The sound expands. Then slowly it fades. What remains is silence. The fading sound guides you into stillness. This is why many spiritual traditions use sound as meditation. The chanting of Om, the ringing of bells, the rhythm of drums, the recitation of mantras. These sounds are designed not to fill your mind, but to empty it. They create vibrations that lead you inward. They awaken awareness, and then they fade, leaving you in silence. Osho explains that even ordinary sounds can be used. The ticking of a clock, the falling of rain, the hum of traffic. Instead of resisting them, listen totally. Be present with the sound until you are so absorbed that the boundary between you and the sound disappears. In that moment, silence arrives. Why does silence matter? Because silence is the language of existence. Sound is temporary. Silence is eternal. Every sound arises from silence and dissolves back into silence. If you can rest in that silence, you touch the eternal part of yourself. In silence, thoughts slow down. The restless inner chatter weakens. A vast space opens within. In that space, you are no longer identified with the body or the mind. You become the witness, a watcher of everything, yet untouched. But silence is not dead. It is alive, vibrant, pulsating. Osho says silence is not emptiness but fullness. It is like a womb, giving birth to peace, love, and creativity. All great art, all deep love, all true insight comes out of silence. The path from sound to silence is gradual. First you are disturbed by sound. Then you accept it. Then you use it as meditation. Finally, sound disappears, and you are left in pure silence. This silence is not opposed to sound. It includes sound. It is the background in which sound appears. Just like the sky contains both clouds and clear space, silence contains both noise and stillness. When you live in silence, life changes. You speak less, but your words carry weight. You act less, but your actions have depth. You no longer react blindly. You respond consciously. Silence gives you a center, a grounding, a clarity that cannot be shaken. Ultimately, silence is the goal of all spiritual paths. Whether through prayer, chanting, or meditation, the destination is the same: to enter the silence within. Osho says, "The sound of a bell may stop, but the silence it leaves behind is eternal." So, begin where you are. Listen deeply to sounds around you. Let them lead you inward. Do not fight, do not resist. Simply allow sound to guide you. Then, slowly, you will fall into silence. And in that silence, you will meet yourself, your true self, beyond body, beyond mind, beyond time. From sound to silence, from movement to stillness, from surface to center. This is the secret of transformation. Chapter 20. No technique. Most people believe meditation is about methods. You are told to watch your breath, to chant a mantra, to visualize light, to sit in a specific posture. All these are techniques. They are useful in the beginning. They give direction to the wandering mind. They help you enter the doorway of meditation. But Osho says the highest meditation is not based on any method. It is the no technique. Why does he call it so? Because every technique is a form of doing, and the moment you are doing something, the mind is active. The effort itself creates disturbance. Real meditation is not doing, it is being. When you drop all effort, meditation happens on its own. Think of a muddy pond. If you keep stirring the water, it remains unclear. The more you try to settle it, the more disturbed it becomes. But if you stop and leave it alone, the mud slowly sinks. The water becomes transparent. Your mind is the same. Techniques are like stirring. The no technique is allowing the mud to settle naturally. What does this mean in practice? It means sitting silently and letting life be. Do nothing. Just watch. Thoughts come and go. Emotions rise and fall. Memories appear and disappear. Do not interfere. Do not judge. Do not suppress. Simply watch. Slowly the chaos dissolves. Silence arises. This silence is meditation. But Osho reminds us that this is not easy at the beginning. For beginners, techniques are necessary. They provide support, like training wheels on a bicycle. But they are not the destination. If you cling to techniques forever, they become chains. One day you must drop them, then you enter meditation without method. When this happens, meditation is no longer separate from daily life. It is not 1 hour of practice in the morning. It becomes your natural state. You eat in awareness. You walk in awareness. You rest in awareness. Every action becomes meditation. There is no division between sacred and ordinary. All of life becomes meditation. The ego resists this path. Ego loves techniques. It wants to achieve, to master, to claim success. But the no technique destroys the ego. Here, there is no doer, no goal, no achievement, only pure being. And in that being, the ego dissolves completely. Meditation, Osho says, is like sleep. You cannot force yourself to sleep. The harder you try, the more awake you remain. But if you relax and let go, sleep comes by itself. The same is true with meditation. You cannot achieve it by effort. You can only allow it. That is why Osho calls this the highest technique. It is no technique at all. It is surrender. It is relaxation into existence. It is dropping the struggle and falling into your own center. Just sitting, just watching, just being. In this simple state, the ultimate truth reveals itself. So the message is clear. Stop chasing meditation. Stop trying to force it. Let it happen. Relax into your being. That is the no technique. Chapter 21. Sex to Superconsciousness. Sex is one of the most powerful forces in human life. It is energy. It is creative. It is the root of birth itself. But Osho reminds us that this same energy, if understood deeply, can be transformed. It can become a doorway to the highest state of consciousness. From sex, we can rise to superconsciousness. Ordinarily, sex is physical. It is instinctual. It is biological. It brings temporary pleasure, but also tension, guilt, and frustration. Because people are trapped in unconscious patterns, they never see beyond the surface. They chase the sensation, but miss the secret hidden within it. Osho explains that sex has 3 layers: the physical, the emotional, the spiritual. On the physical level, it is just an act of reproduction. On the emotional level, it becomes love, intimacy, connection. On the spiritual level, it is a door to transcendence. If you can move with awareness, sex can take you beyond the body and mind, into the vastness of being. Why is this possible? Because sex brings totality. In the moment of deep intimacy, the mind stops. Time disappears. Ego is dissolved. You are fully present. This moment is very close to meditation, but because people remain unconscious, they miss it. Instead of rising higher, they fall back into desire and repetition. Tantra, Osho says, is the art of transforming sex into meditation. It teaches us not to suppress sex, not to condemn it, but to enter it with awareness. Do not rush. Do not treat it as a release. Let it be a prayer. Be totally present. Feel every sensation, every breath, every heartbeat. Then a miracle happens. The physical energy begins to rise upward. It awakens new dimensions of love and consciousness. This rising of energy is called sublimation. It is not repression. Repression kills energy. Sublimation transforms energy. The raw force of sex becomes refined. It moves from the lower centers of the body to the higher centers of the being. Finally, it reaches the crown, where it explodes into superconsciousness. Osho emphasizes that this transformation is not automatic. It requires awareness. Without awareness, sex remains just physical. With awareness, it becomes sacred. It becomes a bridge to the divine. This teaching is revolutionary. Most religions have condemned sex. They saw it as a barrier to spirituality. They forced suppression, which created hypocrisy and misery. Osho says the opposite. He says sex is not the enemy. It is the seed. If you understand the seed, you can grow the tree. If you reject the seed, the tree will never blossom. The journey from sex to superconsciousness is also a journey of love. Sex without love is shallow. Love without awareness is incomplete. But when sex, love, and awareness come together, they create a doorway to eternity. You are no longer two bodies. You are no longer even two souls. You merge into oneness. This union is not just physical ecstasy. It is spiritual ecstasy. It is cosmic. Osho calls this transformation the flowering of humanity. Sex is the beginning. Superconsciousness is the climax. Between the two lies the whole journey of growth. If we deny sex, we remain stuck at the root. If we accept it and transform it, we reach the heights of consciousness. So the secret is awareness. Do not escape sex. Do not be enslaved by it. Enter it with mindfulness. Respect its energy. Nurture it. Let it rise. And let it guide you beyond the body, beyond the mind, into the vastness of superconsciousness. Chapter 22. Love as surrender. Love is one of the most misunderstood words in the world. For most people, love is a bargain, a transaction, an exchange of needs. We say, I love you, but deep inside we mean, I need you. This is not love. This is dependency. This is attachment. Osho explains that true love is not possession. It is not control. It is not a demand. True love is surrender. To surrender means to melt, to dissolve your ego in the presence of the beloved. It is a deep trust that allows you to open your being without fear. Most relationships fail because both partners cling to their egos. Each wants to dominate. Each wants to win. But in love, there is no winning or losing. Love is a death of the ego. When you surrender, there is no me versus you. There is only oneness. This surrender is not weakness. It is strength. To drop the ego is the highest courage. Anyone can fight, argue, or demand. But only the courageous can surrender. Only the brave can say, I am ready to be vulnerable. I am ready to let go. When love becomes surrender, it is no longer confined to one person. It becomes a fragrance that flows from you toward all. You begin to love trees, stars, rivers, strangers. Your heart becomes a vast ocean. Osho warns that we often confuse surrender with slavery. Surrender is not submission. Submission is imposed, forced by fear or authority. Surrender is voluntary. It arises out of joy, out of trust, out of overflowing love. In submission, you feel imprisoned. In surrender, you feel free. Think of a musician. When they lose themselves in music, that is surrender. The ego disappears, only the song remains. In the same way, in true love, only love remains. The lover and beloved vanish. Surrender also transforms sexuality. Normally, sex is mechanical, physical, an act of release. But when there is surrender, sex becomes sacred. Bodies unite, but more importantly, souls meet. It becomes a meditation, a prayer, an entry into the divine. To surrender in love is to say yes to existence itself. When you surrender to one person in love, it teaches you how to surrender to the whole. The beloved becomes a doorway to God, to truth, to infinity. The ego fears surrender because the ego survives only through separation. But in love, that separation disappears. You are no longer an isolated island. You are part of the ocean. This dissolving is the greatest bliss. Surrender in love also heals wounds. When you trust deeply, the fear of rejection dissolves. The fear of abandonment disappears. You feel safe, rooted, whole. Love as surrender is a bridge from your small self to the vast self of existence. Osho says, "Love is not about doing, it is about being. You don't manufacture love, you allow it. You don't force surrender, you relax into it. It is like falling asleep. You cannot try. You can only let go." The ultimate surrender is not only to a person, but to life itself. To surrender to existence is to say, "Thy will be done." When this surrender happens, there is no conflict, no anxiety, no fear. You flow with the totality. So remember, love is not a power game. Love is surrender. When you surrender, you discover freedom, not bondage. You discover wholeness, not emptiness. You discover God, not just another human being. Chapter 23. Inner Explosion. Every human being carries within themselves a hidden volcano. This volcano is energy, consciousness, life force. But most people live as if they are sleeping. They move in routines, they repeat habits, and they never touch this explosive potential inside. Osho explains that meditation is the key to awaken this inner explosion. Meditation is not about control, it is about awareness. The moment you become aware of your inner energy, a chain reaction begins. Slowly, the old patterns, the old conditioning, the false layers of personality start to break. This breaking feels dangerous to the ego. The ego thrives on safety, on repetition, on predictability. But the inner explosion is unpredictable. It destroys the old and gives birth to the new. It is a death and a rebirth at the same time. Imagine a seed buried in the soil. On the surface, it looks dead, small, insignificant. But hidden within it is the possibility of a tree, of flowers, of fruits, of shade. For the seed to become a tree, it must explode. Its shell must crack open. Its old identity must die. The same is true for us. When awareness penetrates deeply, the shell of the ego cracks. Suddenly, you are no longer just a name, a role, a personality. You are vast, infinite, boundless. This realization feels like an explosion because it shatters everything you thought you were. This explosion is not destructive in the negative sense. It destroys illusion, but creates truth. It destroys bondage, but creates freedom. It destroys darkness, but gives light. Out of this explosion, a new consciousness is born. But why do so few people experience it? Because we are afraid of letting go. We cling to our shells. We cling to the familiar, even if it brings misery. The unknown terrifies us. Meditation asks us to jump into that unknown, to trust the explosion, to trust that what dies is false and what emerges is real. Osho calls this explosion a spiritual revolution. It is not gradual improvement. It is not polishing the ego. It is a radical transformation. It is like fire consuming dry wood. Once it happens, nothing remains the same. During this explosion, tremendous energy is released. This energy can feel overwhelming. But if you remain centered, if you remain a witness, that energy becomes bliss. It becomes creativity. It becomes compassion. It becomes love. The inner explosion is also the beginning of freedom from time. Normally we are trapped in past memories and future worries. But when the explosion happens, the mind stops. There is only the present moment, vibrant and alive. Time disappears. Eternity opens. Osho emphasizes that this explosion is not something you can force. You cannot manufacture it. You can only prepare the ground. Meditation prepares. Awareness prepares. Love prepares. And then one day, the explosion happens on its own. When it happens, your whole life changes. Your relationships, your work, your outlook on existence. Everything is touched by a new light. You no longer live as a beggar seeking crumbs of happiness. You live as a king, overflowing with inner richness. This inner explosion is the ultimate goal of Tantra. It is the point where the individual self dissolves into the cosmic self. The drop merges into the ocean. The limited merges with the unlimited. So, the invitation is clear. Do not remain a seed forever. Trust the explosion. Let the shell of ego break. Let the fire of awareness burn away all that is false. And then, like a tree blooming under the sun, your being will blossom in its full glory. Chapter 24. From Form to Formlessness. Human beings are deeply attached to form. We love names, shapes, identities, appearances. Our entire world is built upon forms. The body has a form. The mind has a form. Even our beliefs, our religions, our gods are often trapped in fixed forms. But Osho explains that the essence of existence is formless. The body is form, but consciousness is formless. The mind is form, but awareness is formless. When you cling only to the form, you miss the invisible ocean that sustains all forms. Think of a clay pot. The pot has a shape, a form. But what is truly useful in the pot is not the clay but the empty space inside. The form makes the space visible, but the essence is the space itself. Similarly, your body is just the pot. Your consciousness is the space within. We fear formlessness because the ego survives only in form. Ego is attached to the body, the face, the name, the achievements. If all form dissolves, the ego disappears. This is why people cling to identity. They fear the vast sky of formless being. Yet liberation lies only in moving beyond form. Meditation is the bridge. When you sit silently and watch your thoughts, you realize thoughts are forms. They rise, they fall, they disappear. But something remains watching. That watcher is formless. That awareness is eternal. In love, too, there is a journey from form to formlessness. At first, you are attracted to the body, the face, the physical form of the beloved. But if love deepens, you begin to sense something beyond the body. You feel the soul, the essence. This is formless love. The same is true with God. At first, people worship images, idols, symbols. These are forms. But as awareness grows, you realize God is not a statue, not a picture, not a concept. God is pure formlessness. God is the vast silence beyond imagination. Form is temporary. Formless is eternal. The body is born and dies. Thoughts come and go. Emotions rise and fade. But the formless witnessing inside you never changes. It was there in childhood, in youth, in old age. It is the same. It is timeless. The journey from form to formlessness is a death of sorts. The ego dies. The personality fades. But what remains is the true self, the pure being, the unchanging witness. This is not death in the negative sense. It is freedom. It is expansion. Osho reminds us that even beauty lies in formlessness. The beauty of music is not in the notes, but in the silence between them. The beauty of the sky is not in the clouds, but in the infinite openness. The beauty of life is not in possessions, but in the space to experience. When you cling to form, you suffer. You fear losing your body, your possessions, your reputation. But when you discover the formless, fear disappears. How can the infinite be destroyed? How can pure awareness die? It simply is. Meditation is a training to live in this formless state. At first, it feels like emptiness. But soon, you realize it is fullness. It contains everything. It is not a void but a womb. Out of this formlessness, all forms are born. To move from form to formlessness is to step from time into eternity, from death into immortality, from limitation into infinity. So remember, you are not just the form others see. You are the formless consciousness within. If you trust this truth, if you rest in this truth, you will never fear loss, aging, or death. Because what you are, in essence, is beyond all forms. Chapter 25. The Ultimate Secret. Be here now. Spiritual seekers often ask, what is the highest truth? What is the final secret? What is the essence of all meditation and all scriptures? Osho says the ultimate secret is simple. Be here now. We spend our lives everywhere except the present moment. The mind is either in the past, replaying old memories, regrets, wounds, or in the future, planning, dreaming, worrying. Very rarely do we exist in the now, yet the now is the only reality. The past is dead. It is a shadow. It cannot be changed. The future is unborn. It is a projection, a fantasy. Only the present is alive. Only this moment is real. To miss it is to miss life itself. Osho explains that the mind cannot exist in the present. The mind is a mechanism of memory and imagination. It thrives on what was or what might be. But when you become deeply rooted in the now, the mind disappears. Only awareness remains. To be here now is to awaken. It is to open your eyes to the miracle of existence, the breath moving in and out, the beating of the heart, the wind touching your skin, the silence between sounds. Each moment is fresh, new, unrepeatable. But we miss this miracle because we are lost in thoughts. We eat but think of work. We walk but think of the past. We sit with a loved one but think of problems. Life goes on but we are absent. To be here now is to come home to life. This presence is meditation. Meditation does not mean sitting silently with closed eyes only. It means being totally present in whatever you do. If you are eating, eat with full awareness. If you are walking, walk fully. If you are listening, listen completely. This is meditation in action. When you live in the now, suffering begins to fade. Most suffering is rooted in memory or anticipation. Regret belongs to the past. Anxiety belongs to the future. But in the now, there is peace. There is no burden. There is only pure being. Osho also explains that enlightenment is nothing but total presence. Saints and mystics have used different words, but the essence is the same. Zen masters say, chop wood, carry water. Christ says, take no thought for tomorrow. The message is one: be here now. Being present also transforms relationships. When you are with someone fully without distraction, love becomes real. The other feels seen, valued, honored. Presence is the greatest gift you can give. At first, being present feels difficult. The mind keeps pulling you back to memory and forward to desire. But with practice, a shift happens. Slowly, gaps of silence appear. You taste the now. Once you taste it, you long for more. The present moment is also the doorway to the eternal. The past and future exist in time. The now exists outside time. To enter the now fully is to enter timelessness. This is why mystics say eternity is not endless time. Eternity is the depth of the now. The ultimate secret is not hidden in scriptures, rituals, or philosophies. It is hidden in the ordinary moment. Drinking tea, watching the sunset, hearing a bird sing, touching the hand of a friend. If you are present, these small moments become divine. So remember, the greatest wisdom is not complex. It is not far away. It is available here and now. Be here now. This is the door. This is the path. This is the ultimate secret.